Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh shit!
Yeah, he's got us.
It's the brothers are here. I didn't fucking realize. Jesus.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you get the whole gang. Hey, how was the dentist, Mr. Ladybug?
Yeah, dude. I have not told anybody this, but I'll tell you. I just got all right. When I was dating my wife, this is like 15 years ago. At one point, she was like, "Yo, your snoring is fucking crazy," right? Like, and I was like, "Oh, really?" And then she played me a recording of it, and I was like, "Holy!" And I have zero tolerance. If I'm hearing someone snore, I will punch them in their sleep. Like I can't handle it. So immediately I was like, I got to do something. So I called one of those, like over the, like the 1-800 TV ad about like a mouth guard for snoring. And I did it for a little while. And then eventually I went to a dentist and he was like, I can make you a custom one, And it's like, several $100s, but I was like, yeah, I'll take a custom one. Dude, I've worn this thing. And I've gotten new ones over like every few years religiously. Yeah. And it's my security blanket. Like I've left without it and had them overnight it to the city I'm in. I'm like, you gotta send it. So I go for like a regular cleaning like a couple of months ago, and they go, the dentist, a new dentist to me here in Austin is like, has your bite always been like this? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like you have like an even bite. You don't, I go, no, I have like a slight overbite. And she was like, no. So we look at it, and I'm like, oh, shit. And she goes, I had asked her for a new one. She goes, I want you to go see the orthodontist down the street. So I go and see him, and he's like, dude, you have been so consistent with your snore mouth guard for this time that you have moved your lower jaw. Like, permanently.
You've been wearing braces.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
I did orthodontics to myself.
Yes.
Over 15 years.
You're not snoring. You're not snoring.
Yeah, but I'm not snoring. My fucking face is moving, but I'm not snoring. So now I have to correct what I've done to myself.
Yeah.
And I've never had braces or anything, and now I have like adult braces today. I got like the clear things put in.
Well, that's great. Chris was an Invisalign
I almost
guy.
got adult braces because I had really fucked up teeth. I used to be really self-conscious about it.
Really?
Here I am.
You deserve it. You deserve it with that fucking face. You look like a goddamn Calvin Klein model. Fuck you.
Thank you, you motherfucker. Thank you. Hey,
that's what we need to hear today.
No, but Tom, I was walking around with my sexy ass and I couldn't smile. People were like, what's wrong with this fucking mute?
And then you got your teeth fixed.
Yeah, I got a picture with Sandra Bullock. She was like my childhood, crush. Mm-hmm. Ran into her at the ESPYs. Couldn't even smile. People were like, "What? You want to kill Sandra Bullock?" I'm not. I just look like I'm just
How bad were they?
I mean, they weren't great.
When everything else is
I'll text
so
you
good,
a picture
like
as we're
Chris
talking.
is, Tom, like
yes.
with everything with his face, when everything's that good and there's one thing that's a 7.5 out of 10, it's like, get it out of here.
7.5,
well,
dude.
Relative to the face.
It was like a 3.
You have an anvil for a jaw.
They used to make fun of me. Aaron Donald used to make fun of my teeth, and he had terrible teeth. He went and got veneers. But he used to, his first day as a rookie, he was like, man, he used to do this with his fingers to make fun of my teeth.
That bad? Like, your brother will tell me the truth. How bad were his teeth?
It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that. He looked like a kid that didn't have braces.
Kyle, you told me I had dolphin teeth.
Chris.
You bitch.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could use some Invisalign,
which mouth
too.
guard was it? I want to get one of those mouth guards because I was 350 when I played, Tom, and I know you've lost weight. I know you've lost weight and you feel better.
God, he looks good.
I feel a lot better.
I feel way better, and the snoring naturally reduces if you lose weight, for sure.
Same here. I used to snore a ton, too. Like, bad. My wife used to, kick me and stuff.
I know you hear a lot of unhealthy stories a lot from your co-host, Bert, not your wife.
Yes.
But when it comes to the sleep apnea stuff, it's like sometimes I feel like my description of what happened would have been like what I heard from Bert on Two Bears, One Cave, where it's like I lay in bed, everything's normal, and then all of a sudden I stop breathing and I wake up and it's hell.
Dude,
a million times a night.
Do you suffer from that?
Yeah, like 100 times a night.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull my teeth up.
Wait, Kyle, do you wear a CPAP?
No, because I called and they were like, you have to go spend the night at a hospital. I was like, I don't want to do that.
Dude, you have to get this done.
Okay.
You have to get. How much do you weigh now? What are you down to?
295 probably.
You look great.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
He does.
We're just
You
trying
dropped-
to overcome our genetics.
You dropped 50 pounds already, 55 pounds already?
Yeah, I was a large human being. Soldier Field's
Yeah.
really cold in the wintertime.
You
so
could
it's
really-
put as much weight on as you can.
You could really hear you breathe from like a mile away. You still have a problem. Like you're a great podcaster, but if like they had your ratings as a podcaster, your lowest rating is breathing loudly into the mic.
Well,
That's a
Comes with
big
the
guy thing
territory.
forever. You got to like really think about it to stop doing it. And then all of a sudden you'll just stop talking because you'll be like, I'm not
you're
breathing.
just trying to breathe through your nose and you can't keep up with your oxygen like input.
Hey,
Can't keep up.
Tom, what do you think about this, man? Because I said this on one of your posts the other day. You're fucking sexy right now, dude. I thought it was going to be a month thing.
Man.
I thought it was going to be a month thing where you were just like
love
being
it.
all clean and sober, whatever you guys are all calling that month.
Sober October.
Whatever the fuck it is, but it just extended and extended. Every video's in the gym now. He looks his jaw. You could cut glass with it.
Well, look,
Kind of cocky, all the gym videos. It's cocky, Tom.
Yeah.
I try not to post too much. I know you don't want to be like over posting. I'll tell you, I'm motivated. I mean, this is kind of embarrassing, but in my closet, I have like 6 pictures of Chris like on the wall. And so in the morning when I get dressed, I go like, what would Chris do today? And then I just kind of, I go after it, But look, man,
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying it. I am trying to not, I realize, you guys are pro athletes, so you don't know how us mere mortals think and everything, but basically I realize that I have to just make it a thing forever. Like when you try to lose weight, in the past you go, I lost weight, and then you're just kind of done, and then that's how you regress. So I'm just trying to make it like an all the time thing. Like I just
Well,
make
you
it
look
a-
awesome. You look
thank you.
awesome. And
Thanks.
my only concern for you is I don't think people you're really obviously the funniest fucking guy, but like I do think guys they struggle laughing at hot guys. I
Yeah.
think being hot is like it doesn't work in your favor as a comedian. Luckily,
You're totally
you're already
right.
established. But is that a thing in your business?
I think if I was blessed to have like if I was like notably good look, like one of these, I don't know who the movie star, if I was like Chris Hemsworth and you're like
Zac Efron.
yeah, if you look like
jokes.
that is a weird place to be doing stand-up in. But also some guys who have those like genetic gifts, like there's some like handsome dudes doing it, you can't like you have to lean out of it. In other words, you have to wear clothes that doesn't show off your physique. You can't go like thinking if you have, I don't have hair, but if your hair's like, perfectly combed, like, yeah, all those things are not lending themselves to being funny. So, that's the main thing is you just can't lean into whatever your physical attributes are if they're really good ones.
Right.
I heard you talk about it before. I forget which pod it was on, but earlier in your career, somebody said, hey, you look kind of sloppy out there. Like, why don't you clean it up? And you went out of your way to pick a shirt with a stain on it.
Yeah, I used to think that was like, I so embraced being like I had dirty jokes and I had, I was like, oh, that's who I am. Like I'm a messy, sloppy guy that says dirty things. So I'd be like, oh, that shirt has a hole in it. I'll put that on. And then one of my friends was like, you really look like shit up there, man. Like you look like you just woke up. I was like, it's cool, right? And he was like, no, it's not. Like you're taking it too far. I tried to find like a healthy balance of like I also think, how like if you go into your closet and you have like jackets, right? And there's jackets that are like, you're like, I like wearing that one. And then there's like, that jacket is too, like you're Harrison Ford if you put that jacket on.
Yeah.
I don't want to wear that on
jackets
stage. I don't want to wear that fucking jacket on stage because if like I feel like I'm trying to be cool in that jacket, I'll wear it to dinner, but I don't want to wear it on stage. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you got pretty good, solid. When I saw you in New York, like you wear black, you look sleek, you look kind of Tom Cruisey, but not like
I don't know.
Yeah, over the top.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a clothing hoe for sure.
Are you?
Yeah, I fucking, dude, I just gave away 200 items of clothing and my closet looks full. I don't even understand. It's like it's growing clothes. But
Yeah.
I still feel like there's shit you want to wear on stage in there and stuff that I'd be like, no, I would wear that, but I'm not wearing that on stage.
Hey, I wanted to tell Kyle a story, or have you tell him about the Charlottesville show, because he has no background on it. He wasn't in town when that happened. And I don't go to a lot of stand-up shows, and I went to this one, and Tom said it was like nothing he's ever seen.
That was pretty wild,
performing
dude.
in front of Charlottesville. Can you tell us about that?
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you got to see, because you saw me in New York, too, so you got to see,
Yeah.
like, a normal show.
Yeah.
And then, we played all different sized places on this thing, and I think that was probably the smallest show of the tour, because it's an old theater. It's like 1,000-seater, and it changes kind of the dynamic of the performance a little bit, and the dynamic of a show, because if you go from a 5,000 or a 10,000 seat thing, it's a show, but like they're there, you're here, and it's like they're watching, right? But when you reduce the size of a venue, it becomes much more interactive, right? Like you as the performer can't pretend that like I'm just saying that you're saying it to people's faces all of a sudden, and then they respond differently. So it became like a much more intimate show. And there was a point when you are on stage, you can pick up on things that maybe the audience can't. Like you hear sounds, and you learn that you can ignore certain things, and then you also learn that there's things that you have to address. And it's usually like, it's your choice, but usually like if it's minimal, you're like, I'll just let that go. More notable, substantial sounds, you kind of go like, I gotta say something because it's too much. Mm-hmm. And I was like hearing like, a little bit of murmuring, and I was like, whatever, keep performing, keep going. And then at a certain point, I just hear like, no! And I'm like, what are you fucking doing, man? And it's like 3 rows in, and the guy's like, no! And I'm like, no what? And they're like, and the people in the audience are like, he needs to go. And he goes, I'm not leaving. And then I'm like, what? And then most of the time when you perform in these venues, when something like that happens, security is just guys that look like you guys that go like, this is over. We're just going to drag this guy out of here.
Legitimately
waiting for somebody to speak up.
A bunch of Kyles.
So I just kind of turn, and I see yellow jackets, which is usually like security staff kind of thing. And I'm like, well, they're just going to fucking rip this guy out of here. And all of a sudden, because don't forget, I'm under lights, right? All of a sudden, like they come in and out of the light, and I see it's like 4 people in their 80s. They're ushers, and I'm like, oh, they're not going to do a fucking thing to this guy, right? And he goes, I'm not leaving, and he holds on to the seat, like where your armrest. He just holds him. He goes, I'm not leaving, and I was like, oh fuck. And then I just see them. They're old as shit, and they just go like,
I guess he's not leaving.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know. And so,
is this middle of the show?
Dead middle of the show, dude.
yeah, like dead in the middle of the show, and I'm like, okay. And then the people in the audience are still like, he needs to go, and he's like, I will not leave. And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Very Charlottesville.
So all of a sudden,
welcome to our hometown.
Those 4 old ushers just turn around and leave. They're just like, all right. And I'm like, that's it? Like, that's what you're doing? So they're gone. And then the first thing I do is, I kind of talk about it, and then I kind of go back to like the show. I start performing. And this guy, because he's obviously the villain of the audience,
Yeah.
and he wants to be like part of like the good guys again. He does this thing. It's so funny that it still makes me laugh. He wanted to like laugh where you're supposed to laugh, but he missed the mark. So I was like setting up the next joke, and he just goes, ah, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, what are you doing, man? And you could tell he was like, do I now blend? Like, no, everybody knows who you are.
Are we good?
Yeah, no,
we all
was
know
terrible.
who you are.
He was like 35, white guy.
Yeah,
like,
he looked like he just came off, like he fished that day. He had like a tackle fishing bait, like shirt with like 9 pockets here. And I was like, oh, fuck. So
Wearing some Merrill shoes.
Yeah.
he fucking, I kind of start moving along. And then the audience, I don't know, this happens sometimes in these shows. They kind of get the sense themselves. It's like a naturally occurring thing that like this show it's now okay for us to just talk. and just yell. So they just start to just go like, "Hey, Tom," and I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Hey, man, how come?" And they just asking me questions, and I realized that it's so many people. It's not like one or it's so many people doing it that like you go, I can't fight. If I try to fight this, it's like trying to physically fight 1,000. You're like, I'm not going to win this fight.
Right.
So you just go, I'm just going to roll with it. So I just started to do crowd work with like 1,000 people. Like they were just all yelling shit. And I did that for like 15 minutes. And then I realized, I was like, if I can make them let me do these last 10 minutes of material, I can get off stage and it'll all kind of stay together. And it worked. It somehow stayed together. But it was definitely one of the more memorable shows of the tour.
It had to be, the way it sounded, I was kind of embarrassed for our hometown, but I'm never surprised. Did you see Mark Zuckerberg's weird ass bought like an entire UFC stadium out for him and like 5 of his closest friends? And he was like, fight. Like, you guys fight, we sit here. Like, we're the only people in this. What would you do if Mark Zuckerberg and like a family of 7 were the only people at one of your shows and it was empty otherwise? Would you just obliterate Mark Zuckerberg?
I mean, it would not. Here's the thing. It would feel so awkward. It's so awkward to perform and to feel like you're performing. If you feel like you're performing, and it's small, you feel how awkward that actually registers inside. You know what I mean? Like, it's like almost like if you were to perform for your family, like at dinner, and they're like, "The fuck are you doing?" You know. That's what it would feel like. So I think, you'd have to just sit there and at least spend a good amount of time looking him dead in the eye and being like, "Yo, man, when do you blink? Like, what's going on?" You know, you'd have to say shit to him like, "This fucking Instagram algorithm's inconsistent. Knock it off." You'd have to talk to him. If you didn't talk to him, it would be 10 times more awkward.
It reminds me of when I think who was Pablo Escobar had all the best soccer players in the world come to like his finca, his farm, and he was like, "Fucking play." And there's elephants here too, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, that's some awkward shit.
And him and the other cartel guys would bet. So they'd be like, "These guys are going to beat these guys." And like, there's fucking $1 million bet going on for like a backyard soccer game. Yeah.
Just a bunch of coked up fans.
Did you watch the World Cup?
I didn't watch like consistently the whole series of matches. I recorded the final, and I was like, it's funny because I was at the racetrack. I was driving here at Coda on Sunday, and I was like, and I had it recorded, but I was still checking, and I saw it was 2-0, and I was like, "Oh, that's over, man." Like that's. And then I got back. It's like 2-1, 2-2, and I could not believe like the scoring going on in extended time. It was wild. And then I watched it later. I mean, the craziest, coolest thing is watching the way like Argentina is celebrating this thing, because people don't understand, at least in the United States, what soccer is to Latin America. I mean, to a lot of the world, but Latin America, it is. We don't have the equivalent. That's why it doesn't really register. Like people go, "Well, you know, football and I'm like, yeah, it's not the same, dude. It is not the same.
It's different.
It is.
Hey, fuck Salt Bay, by the way. Did you see him harassing all those players? I'm so out on fucking Salt Bay. I mean, like, dude, you just know your moment's over. There's nothing worse than somebody gets super fucking famous and then doesn't know when their fucking moment's over.
Just trying to strong arm the.
That's why I started this podcast, so I could fade into oblivion. But what the fuck was Salt Bay doing, harassing Lionel Messi?
How did he get that access? How did he get access? You're Salt Bay. You have that access. You're on the field.
Wagyu beef will get you anywhere. It's like good ass.
There's plenty of good beef. There's plenty of good beef in Argentina, dude.
Oh,
by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the state.
We were talking, Chris. You can
what?
get him with the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. There's just a bunch of dumb questions for Tom Segura. If you go in a time machine and go anywhere, any place in the history of the world, and the one objective is to get hot women, where are you going?
Wow. I mean,
I was kind of thinking Argentina Saturday.
Yeah.
oh my God, the level of. I mean, that's a pretty short trip in your time machine, but
Yeah, but you know, it is
yeah.
technically in the past, Tom,
see
and
you.
nobody smells like shit. Like, you're going to pick, some people are going to pick, like, 1930 or something somewhere. Like, everybody smells terrible.
yeah. Well, I was
Gatsby
thinking like
looked like it
the first thought that came to mind was just be a Viking, and you just
Consensual
people-
Viking.
No rules, just right.
Consensual,
Outback Viking
consensual
house.
Viking.
just take what you
Outback
want.
Longhouse.
You
You get
ask for
that-
permit. You ask for permission. You roll up on your ships, and you're a nice Viking. You ask for permission.
Yeah, but then you kill her. That's fucking the best part, isn't it?
Yeah, and to add to that, Tom, you can also shoot an arrow at her vessel when it's flying away in the traditional
Yeah.
Viking burial, which is the
Viking
coolest
thing-
scene in every movie.
But I got to tell you, I went to Buenos Aires when I was 21, and I almost broke my neck. I'd never seen so many beautiful women walk. So I mean, you made a good call, and for sure, the effort doesn't need to be as strong when they win the World Cup. You could probably just be like, "Hello," and it's on,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't think I would look like everybody else. Maybe, yeah. So,
No, you'd be in there, dude.
I was thinking maybe Erie, Pennsylvania, though. Also,
What year?
2022. Well, do you want to talk about the Erie, Pennsylvania thing? Because I know that you and the city have a bit of a rivalry.
Look,
and
everybody
how did that
who does everybody who does stand up has at least a couple of cities where they're like, man, fuck that place, right? It's just like
Yeah.
something that I mean, you probably have it from playing ball too, where you're just
Detroit.
like, dude, yeah, and you're like,
That's an easy
fuck
one.
Detroit, you know. But yeah, for us, I think we have to spend more time there. We have to interact with more people, and like, yeah, I just had, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely more cities than just one, but I've always felt comfortable shitting on Erie, and I did it, and I could not believe it made the news, and they did a whole news piece about it.
It's so funny, Kyle.
It's pretty ridiculous. And then I actually have a thing now with their weatherman, right? Their weatherman is this dude, and he tried to do like this little lame shot. He was like, Tom's just mad because he's not one of the 10 sexiest bald men alive. And I was like, huh? So it was whack, and so I made fun of him, and then like I didn't even send people, but people started to go to his social media. And then he did the worst thing, which is he's fucked now. So he tried to be like, he tried to take shots at he calls them the Tom Segura basement dwellers, like come up to me. I was like, that's like a old man, like that's like a 90-year-old man's shot at someone. Is like, you live in your mom's basement? Like it's such a hacky. So then he got so much that he made his social media accounts private. And he's just been like, it's just going to get worse. He also said he would whoop my ass in basketball. So I told him that if
Hard
he
to
wants
believe,
to fly,
Tom. I've seen you play.
listen,
on
here's
video.
what I said though. But I told him if he wants to come down here and play basketball, 1-on-1, like just standard game to 11 by ones, got to win by 2. The whole, just standard 1-on-1. If he wins that, I will give $50,000 to the charity of his choice.
That's great.
But if he loses, he has to make his social media accounts public. And
That's only fair. It's only
yeah,
fair.
and he has to
That sounds
issue
fair.
an apology video that I approve of. So that's what we're doing.
He's from Roanoke, Virginia. We looked this guy up. David Walter. He also
Yeah.
spends his.
Strange
He
spot.
spells. He's David Walter. He spells his fucking name with an O. His last name, David Walter. And yeah, what the fuck? Which begs the question: who are the top? Give me the top 5 sexiest bald men.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I'm definitely gonna go Bruce Willis.
Yeah, he's on everybody's mind.
Agreed.
Yes, that's a sexy bald man. Was the surfer? That dude's super sexy.
Oh, the guy's
Casey,
gonna.
Slater.
Everybody's like,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Tom
Kelly
and Giselle divorced.
Kelly Slater.
Tom and Giselle divorced, and they were like, I know where she is. I'm like, how do you know that?
Riding away from
Like,
Kelly
you
Slater.
just assume, this guy's so hot. Like,
She's
I mean,
in a pipe with
yeah.
Kelly Slater.
oh,
Do you,
well,
can
they
you
ride
imagine what a documentary about the pussy he's gotten? Like how? First of all, it'd be like a 10-part miniseries, but like it has got to be the best of the like. It's like The Last Dance. It'd be like Michael Jordan's. Like it would just be like Kelly's. It'd be like, and then this nameless, faceless hoe, and then it's, I guess. Well, yeah, that's right. Her friend was eating my ass, and then she came in, and it was like it would just be unbelievable. That's the time machine I would want to be in. I want to be in Kelly Slater's fucking body for a week.
oh my
See what that
God,
feels
dude.
like.
Tahiti, somewhere in Tahiti, in like the mid 2000s.
And that's just number 2.
That's number 2.
I've got
you got
Stanley Tucci is definitely on my list.
Stanley Tucci.
Wow.
I watched his Taste of Italy or whatever with my wife Kate, and she said to me, "This is my hall pass." She looked at me dead seriously. And
wow.
Stanley Tucci. Who the fuck is this guy?
said,
That's
motherfucker.
a curveball, but I get it. I mean, he's immensely
cultured.
talented. Yeah, cultured, talented.
It was Bruce Willis. It was Kelly Slater.
Stanley Tucci.
So you don't get to make his list.
I think we got to go Jason Statham for sure. As
Yeah.
a sexy bald man.
Yeah, guy, look right through your wife. He just looked right through her. 2022's top 10 sexiest bald men are, and this is crazy to me. They put your boy Joe Rogan on there at 8.
Oh my God.
Pitbull.
Oh my God.
Doing Joe a favor.
Yeah, come on. Who made this list? They got fucking Mike Tyson on there. Hey, I'm not gonna say anything bad about Mike Tyson.
Prince William, I could see that. You know, people like the
Oh
royal
my
thing.
God.
I'm not into the royal thing, but he's half bald, so you get half in, half out. 2 worlds there, you know? I don't know.
Just
I don't know.
put 10 mixed black guys on there that all play
Yeah.
sports, and they probably all
Now, Pitbull I agree with, because Pitbull's got to be one of the most entertaining people on the planet. He's on this list here.
Vin Diesel should not be on this list.
No.
No, Vin, no. Get him out of there.
Okay. So here's the next dumb question, Tom. If
Yeah.
you died and your wife had to remarry or have a good time, what celebrity are you like? Yep, that's the one. Go ahead. Your ghost is like, go ahead, him.
So I have this thing about this where I think if the person is like notably so much better than you, that's easier to tolerate than like more like on your level or you're lower and you're like, what the fuck is this, right? So I'd actually want him to be a fucking 10, you know? I mean,
makes
and I
sense.
don't. Yeah, I think that makes me go like, yeah, of course. Who's like
You're saying you don't want her to change teams, you want her to change leagues, essentially. Like you don't
Yeah.
want her
Yeah,
to
just get out of the
relegate
league. Yeah.
up.
Yeah, go up.
yeah, like and
makes
go
sense.
way up, where I go like
Kyle?
Zac Efron would
Kyle
be the
doesn't
one.
feel the same way, I don't
Zac
think.
Efron would be the one for me because it's a downgrade. He's less handsome than me.
Well, he's
Yeah.
shorter than you for sure.
so much shorter.
Ask him the question
Oh
you
yeah,
wanted to
yeah.
ask
I wanted
him.
to know. I got some friends who, you know, when we hang out, they're self-conscious. So I wanted to ask you because I know you know who makes the best shoe platforms to make you look taller.
That's good. That's good.
good, Kyle.
I was so like when Bert was like, "Oh, I told him you wear platforms," and I was like, "Why?" He's like, "I don't know. I thought it'd be fun." I don't know. And I was like, you realize that was like probably the best moment of my year is
Yeah.
like Chris going like, "Wow, you're pretty tall, huh?" And I was like, "Oh,
I was serious, dude.
yeah, I know." And I don't wear fucking platforms. I've just
No, I know.
standing up.
That's so funny. That
It
he
just
does.
like,
It is a
he
funny
remembered
thing
that.
to plant. It's a funny thing to plant on somebody.
It is, and the same thing with like, hey, Aaron Rodgers, all those texts and shit. That was funny too.
That
He
was
seems
funny,
like a
yeah.
great friend. All right, so plastic surgery has been a hot topic. Would
Yeah,
you
we've been
ever get
obsessed
it?
with it.
Yeah, and that fucking Simon Cowell looks like you'd stick your hand up his ass and make him talk. I mean,
That
he just looks
shit-
like a total fucking. He's so creepy looking.
It's so crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I think as a man, I think in this world today, you should look. Everybody should do what makes them happy and makes them feel good with themselves.
Yeah.
I feel like as a comedian, you kind of gotta deal with the hand you got in this world. Like if you're a comic,
Yeah.
or you just have to be super, super, super open and honest about it. You can make jokes about it. I mean, I don't know, man. I wish I had a different body. I'm not going to do plastic surgery to it. I'm just going to keep working out. My face, I don't know. Like people always point out my fucking bags. But like maybe if I'm 70 and they're like hanging down like this, I'll be like, hey, could you... But I don't plan on doing anything to it in the near future.
I think it's cool to see people that are confident in their own skin, even when they look kind of fucked up. Like somebody with a great personality that just looks fucked up. I'm like, you're my boy, Blue.
Yeah,
I got to be honest too.
Creature.
I find it the most attractive thing in women too that are not like cookie cutter perfect.
Perfect.
Yeah,
no, we
like
don't
that
like that.
perfect, Barbie face. It doesn't really do anything for me. I like little imperfections. I find it.
They're everywhere
attractive.
now. Those faces
Yeah.
are everywhere. Everywhere you go, every scroll you make on any social media, you see the same person with different hair color and different eye contacts. And like, it's crazy out
I want
here, man.
unique. Okay, Mike Lee, the what is he? Utah senator. He wants to ban porn. How do we feel about that, Tom?
It's fucking insane. He wants to ban. That's really his position.
Yeah, just like get rid of it.
Get rid of porn.
Yeah, not wipe the history from your
Do
just
you
like
know
get.
what would happen to people? This would be like when when there was prohibition. It's like the type of crime that would evolve from people trying to get a nut would be so much more, I think, dangerous and violent than it is for getting booze. Like porn is an institution, and there's definitely some super fucked up things if you really want to get down to like what's going on in that industry. But there's not a chance in hell you could get away with banning it. I don't think anywhere in the world, but certainly not in the United States. It's so accessible. It is, people have their own relationship with it. I feel like when I was a young road dog and you're going out there and you're just lonely in your 20s, like that's your companion. It's your companion. And I thankfully consume much less of it today, because I do think it's a time and an age in your life. But that guy is out. He has a better chance of fucking banning hamburgers than he does banning porn. Like people will go nuts in this country if you try to take that away. No way.
So you stopped around like 38.
I just feel like it's a trickle down. It's like it slows and it slows, and the
Here
better.
he is porn shaming me. Like,
Well, I mean,
fuck.
look, I'm not abstaining from it. I just feel like I feel like there was a time where I could look at where I was like, man. And if I was bored, I would look at porn. If I was trying to write and I came up on the most minimal writer's block, I'd be like, look at porn. If I was like waking up in the morning, but that was also younger. I don't feel like you're in your best place when you're consuming it that much.
No, I agree. I totally agree with you. And as an older man, I have not jacked off today.
That's
good.
It's like you're retraining your brain to reward itself. You're rewarding yourself for not doing anything.
Yes.
That's one thing I read, which is a really interesting concept.
Very true.
I'm trying to think of how else I might reward it. I'm sitting here with a dip in right now.
Impulse control.
Sometimes I smoke joints. They're also
Just impulse control.
I think it. I have friends that they told me that they were watching way too much porn. They stopped, and then they all just said the same thing unanimously, which was that their sex life got way better because they didn't live in this fantasy anymore. I don't know.
No. And if you're out there and you look at porn and say you're older, maybe you should try what we're talking about. Try it on for size. Stop.
Maybe dial it back a little bit.
Dial it back a little bit. I do worry about, like, when I used to look at porn, I used to worry about, hey, what if I had like cardiac arrest in the middle of it and like somebody they got to find you with your fucking laptop open.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, like they're just like, God, this guy died doing what he loved.
Dude.
How many little people
what?
can fit on one screen?
You know what? You know what happened to me one
How
time?
many browsers? Yeah, go ahead.
This was humiliating. This was humiliating.
Oh boy.
I was living with my cousin, so we were two, single. We were not married. We were single guys. We're living in LA, and we're sharing a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. And we're, he's much more neat and put together than me, but we're still two dudes. And so I think it was once a week we would have the cleaning lady come over. And it was one of those things where like that's his contact and he would do the setup and all that, So I would I would contribute financially to it, but I never knew when it was, he was just like taking care of it. Well, this one day I'm home, and again, I'm probably like 26, 27, I'm in this apartment, and it's a single story, it was it's like a home, it's not an apartment complex. So I'm in the bedroom, and I'm like, I'm gonna jack off right now, and I decide to just go into the living room, which is, and I sit on the couch, and I have the laptop open, and my pants are open, and I'm just like, going through videos, clicking this and that, and as this is happening, I hear something, and I'm like, nah, and I keep, and your brain is like taking over, and now I'm just like hyper focused on the fucking blow bang or whatever I'm watching, and I'm like, and then, and then
No,
I hear another noise, and all of a sudden, I turn, and right behind me is the cleaning lady and her daughter.
No.
And her daughter.
This is how Brazzers always starts, by the way.
Yeah, and it's totally a scene. I feel like my heart, drop.
I don't know what Brazzers is.
And
I'm not even gonna ask how old the daughter was.
Yeah, that's the bad.
Well,
part
yeah,
of the
no.
story.
She is. I'll volunteer it. She is definitely of age. That part I can tell you. And she's attractive.
So
right?
bring your adult hot daughter to work day.
I'm crying.
Yes.
Happens all the time.
And she's Latin, and she starts licking her lips, right? And she's like touching her. No, the daughter is like has a little like a bit of disappointment, and the mother's more checked out, like just kind of like. Oh. So I do the panic normal move, which is it's an older MacBook. I slam it shut. I just go pop like that. The audio keeps playing.
Oh no!
So now I'm looking at them, and you're just hearing some chick getting railed, and I'm like, so I have to open it again, and like find, and then I have to find, I have to draw up X and hit mute, and I'm like, oh my god! And here's the worst part of this whole thing. The worst part is that because he had arranged the cleaning with them, she thought that I did this this was a so I had to call him and be like, hey man, could you fucking tell me when they're coming over? And he's like, oh yeah, sorry. And then I realized, he was like, well, maybe don't jerk off in the living room. And I was like, I go, yeah, but you could have given me a heads up that they're going to be here. And then I remember I went to her and I was like, hey, I'm going to take off now. And she was like, okay. Like,
What an exhibitionist you are, Tom.
I was mortified. I was mortified.
That's awful. And yeah, and how many years ago was this, Tom?
Many years
Many.
ago.
Okay, many years ago.
Yeah, they're both dead now. It was a long time ago.
said
I checked. Hey, ask him about football, and then let's let him go. But we just were warming you up to ask you what your favorite football team was.
I was born in Cincinnati. I'm excited that just to have any type of excitement in watching them I went through the 90s, which was just a goddamn disaster. So the Bengals are fun. But my ride or die, what I have been obsessed with for years, is definitely Florida State football. Yeah.
That's wild. And they're good now.
Unconquered.
That quarterback they have is really good.
Will you fucking tell me what it was like to go there for a moment?
Oh, Florida State. Yeah. Well, I was there for a summer semester and fall semester. I was only playing baseball. So you get there in the summertime, and literally they give you one class during the week and 4 practices, and then the rest of the hours is just drinking and chasing chicks. And I had zero experience with women at the time. Still don't really, but a lot of fun. I really wish Bert and I had crossed over there because I feel like we would have run in the same circles. For sure.
Yeah, he would have run you out of the circle of
Out of the circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, there were people there
legend.
that took care of that for Bert.
He is such he's such a legend.
Kyle was at a JUCO
Yeah.
pretty quickly, like thousands of miles away.
junior college, awesome time too.
I remember
You
I
should
went
check that
down to
out.
visit Kyle one night at Florida State, and we just got obliterated. I don't know where we went, but we spent 5 minutes in your room. I went back and saw your bedroom, bro. It was like a mattress and just a bunch of trash. It was like in Star Wars where they go into that trash compactor.
Wait, this
and
was at FSU or Oregon?
Oh, at FSU.
This was at FSU my
His
freshman
Oregon
year.
dorm looked a lot better. So he'd come a long way. But his freshman year, I was like, Kyle, what the fuck have you been doing down there? I
when
remember
got
shut the
kicked
door.
out of school.
Yeah.
I had to go back down there and clean out my apartment and tell all my teammates that I was leaving. And I brought my mom with me, and she went into my room, and there was like 70 empty Jack bottles like on the ground.
Oh
looked
my
like- yeah,
God.
it was like-
Mom's like, "Is that shit in the window? Like
like
what
the,
is going
the Sandlot dog's house. It was unbelievable.
It was embarrassing. I had to change my life. Then.
Yeah, so you did. All right, so favorite Florida State football player of all time?
Oh man, of all time? I mean,
It's only been like 100 years, player.
I know, but it's like I don't have like one. There's just like you have memories of like watching like I mean those '90s team like Peter Warwick.
Yeah, Peter Warwick would have been my
That shit. He did feel like video game.
Yeah.
When you and I loved watching Prime. Obviously, like that's amazing what he's done so far. I think he's gonna pull crazy recruits.
I'm
Like
a
the
Buffaloes fan. I'm a Colorado fan now. Like I'll admit it.
Yeah. I
Well,
think
here's
he's
the
going
thing.
to as
Like
well.
as you guys know, in that world, there's the big separation comes when you can pull in like 5-star guy. Like that's when if you start to like really pull in top tier recruits. And if you were telling me that you're sending in Saban and Dabo and whoever and to close, and you're like, hey, and also Prime, I'd be like, dude, my money is always going to be on him closing.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to get them all, but he is going to close on some kids that you're going to be like, holy shit, because there's just something about him. He's a special guy. He has that charisma. He obviously has the craziest resume, and I think kids are just going to respond to it, dude. I think they really are. He's going to be.
You just got to have the greenbacks. You're going to have that
Tough act to
NIL
follow.
money now. That's the NIL landscape now. But I'm glad they're getting paid. It's complicated, but the people who get really pissed about it, they're just pissed,
Yeah.
Like it's just fucking. So what? It's the wild, wild west. It'll figure
By the way,
itself out.
you say like OnlyFans for, but can you imagine if you were like a top tier receiver in college and you're like, yo, I had
say
like
Instagram model.
11 catches for like 216 yards and 3 touchdowns, and if you jump on my OnlyFans, I'm gonna jerk off now in back in my and like how much money that kid?
So much money.
So much money.
Like, can you imagine if when Tim Tebow was in college, he had an OnlyFans?
Oh my
Holy
god!
shit!
And
You'll
Kyle, I
never
was-
see anybody do this harder than I will to myself
Yes,
in
and
the
go-
history of college football.
I bet he can fucking tug one hard too. I bet he really does.
And
Gambled on
for
the
the
one night.
motorsports fans, you said you were at COTA. I love that. I know you guys are involved in that. What's your dream track to go watch?
Kyle, I would
Like
go to Monza. I think Monza would be fun to drive.
Hell yeah.
That would be legendary. That would be an experience. Do you like to hit tracks too?
I've got the simulator at my house. I do iRacing. I've had it
nice.
at my house for about 7 years. I haven't done any track time in a real car. I've got an M5 competition. I'd love to take it to Virginia International Raceway. Maybe we should do that
should.
sometime.
Yeah, yeah,
should.
dude. Yeah, you guys should race.
That'd
See
be
who the
fun,
real man is. Tom, we appreciate the time, my dude, and we hope to have you again.
Thanks, Tom.
You know you're
Yeah.
busy, so thank you.
Always a pleasure. Good to see you guys.
Yeah.
Keep kicking ass, man. We'll see you around.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.